Hello, friends. Welcome to our new story. Today, we travel to one of the most secret and mysterious countries on Earth. A country where freedom is limited and fear controls many lives. A country where the outside world knows little about what really happens inside. Freedom is a simple word, but it means everything. It means the ability to speak your mind without fear, to walk down any street you choose, to live your life according to your dreams and hopes. For many of us, freedom is something we hardly think about. We wake up, go to work or school, talk with friends, and make plans for the future. We can choose what to believe, where to go, and what to do. But what if all of this was taken away? Imagine living in a place where every word you say is watched. Imagine that even your family might watch you and tell the government if you do something wrong. Imagine that your dreams, your hopes, your future are decided not by you, but by people far away who control everything. This is not a story from a book or a far-off land. This is the reality for millions in North Korea. North Korea is known as one of the most closed countries in the world. The government controls everything, from the news people see, to the jobs they do, to the way they dress. The world outside knows very little about daily life inside its borders. In this story, I will share with you 20 dark secrets about North Korea. Secrets that show what life is really like behind the walls and borders. And as you listen, you'll not only discover the hidden truth about this mysterious country, you'll also improve your English listening skills. You'll learn new vocabulary, hear clear pronunciation, and understand English in real context. So, as you open your mind to this powerful story, you'll also be training your ears and brain to speak and understand English better. So listen closely, my friend. This is a story you need to hear, and a chance to grow your English at the same time. Let's begin. Secret 1. No internet for citizens. Imagine a world where you cannot search for anything you want on the internet. No videos, no websites, no social media. For most people, this is hard to imagine. The internet connects us with the world. But in North Korea, this is the truth. The people there do not have access to the global internet. Instead, they have a small, closed network called Kwangmyong, which means bright light in Korean. Kwangmyong is like a tiny internet controlled by the government. It has only a few websites, all created and approved by the leaders. People can read some news, but only news that the government wants them to see. There is no Facebook, no YouTube, no Google, no way to learn new ideas or hear other opinions. This control limits what people can know. It stops them from seeing the world outside or sharing their own stories. Imagine if your window to the world was replaced by a small, locked box. That is the reality for most North Koreans. Secret 2. Only 3 TV channels, all propaganda. Now imagine turning on your television, but there are only 3 channels, and all of them say the same thing. They praise the leaders and tell people how great their country is. In North Korea, this is true. The government controls all TV channels. The programs show only what the government wants. News stories talk about the power of the leaders and the success of the country. There are no shows about everyday life, no entertainment, no comedy, no movies like we have in other countries. This is called propaganda. It is information used to control how people think. The government uses TV to make people loyal and stop them from asking questions. Imagine watching TV every day and hearing only one story, a story that praises the leaders and hides the truth. Secret 3. No freedom to travel. Now think about how easy it is to travel in your country or visit another country. You can take a bus, a train, or a plane. You can visit family in other cities or travel for work or study. In North Korea, travel is very different. People cannot move freely. They need permission to travel from one place to another, even inside their own country. Leaving North Korea is almost impossible. The government controls all borders tightly. Very few people are allowed to go abroad, and those who do must follow strict rules. If someone tries to escape without permission, the punishment is very severe. They can be sent to prison camps or even face death. For example, Shin Dong-hyuk is a well-known defector who escaped from a North Korean prison camp and later told the world about the harsh conditions. His story shows how dangerous it is to try to leave. Imagine living your whole life in one place, unable to see the world outside or visit other cities. Imagine being afraid to leave your home because you could lose everything. Secret 4. The Kim family is worshipped. In North Korea, the Kim family is not just a ruling family. They are worshipped like gods. This tradition started with Kim Il-sung, the country's first leader, and continues today with his son Kim Jong-il and grandson Kim Jong-un. Portraits of Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il hang in every home, office, school, and public building. These pictures are treated with great respect. People must bow or show honor to these portraits every day. Failing to care for these portraits properly can bring serious punishment. According to testimonies from defectors, if the pictures are damaged, dirty, or misplaced, the whole family might be punished. Sometimes people have been sent to prison camps for such offenses. The government uses this worship to control the population. The leaders are shown as perfect heroes who guide the nation. Textbooks, media, and even songs praise the Kim family constantly. One defector, Yeonmi Park, has shared stories about how children were taught to love Kim Jong-il from a very young age, memorizing poems and stories about his greatness. Criticism or disrespect is dangerous and often results in severe consequences. This strong focus on personality creates a powerful tool for control. People live under constant pressure to show loyalty, even if their true feelings are different. Secret 5. The fake city, Kijongdong. Near the border with South Korea lies a strange place called Kijongdong, sometimes called the Peace Village. At first glance, it looks like a normal town with tall buildings, colorful houses, and even a large flagpole flying the North Korean flag. However, Kijongdong is not a real city where people live. It is mostly empty and built to impress and intimidate South Korea. Many experts believe it is a propaganda tool rather than a functioning town. Satellite images have shown that the buildings have no windows, and there is no sign of everyday life. No cars on the streets, no smoke from chimneys, and no movement. This ghost city was built in the 1950s during the Korean War to show South Korea and the world how modern and developed North Korea could be. One of the tallest flagpoles in the world stands there at about 160 meters, 525 feet, built to wave the North Korean flag visible from the South Korean side. The flag itself is enormous and designed to blow in the wind day and night. The South Korean village closest to the border, Daeseongdong, is a real functioning town where people live and work, unlike Kijongdong. The fake city is a symbol of the ongoing tension between the two Koreas. It is a reminder of the propaganda battle and how appearances are carefully managed in this divided region. Secret 6. Secret tunnels to South Korea. One of the most shocking secrets about North Korea is the existence of secret tunnels under the border between North and South Korea. Since the 1970s, South Korean forces have discovered several underground tunnels built by North Korea. These tunnels are thought to be made for surprise military attacks or invasions into South Korea. At least 4 tunnels have been found, but experts believe there could be many more that have not yet been discovered. The tunnels are long and deep, sometimes running several kilometers under the border. Some are big enough to allow thousands of soldiers to move through quickly. The discovery of these tunnels shows the level of military planning and tension between the two countries, which remain technically at war since the Korean War ended in 1953 with only an armistice, not a peace treaty. Today, some of these tunnels are open to tourists in South Korea, offering a glimpse into this hidden part of the conflict. Secret 7. Controlled hairstyles. In most countries, people are free to choose their hairstyle. It's a personal decision, a form of self-expression. But in North Korea, even hair is controlled by the government. The government has released an official list of approved hairstyles. According to reports from defectors and international observers, there are about 28 styles total, 18 for women and 10 for men. For men, hair must be short and neat. Styles similar to Kim Jong-un's haircut are encouraged. For women, married women are expected to keep their hair short, while younger, unmarried women may wear longer styles, but only ones approved by the state. Hair coloring, hair gel, and modern fashion cuts are discouraged or banned. Anything that appears too Western is considered dangerous to the country's values. Salon workers are trained to enforce these rules. In many areas, barbershops even display posters with the approved haircuts. Why does the government care so much? Because hairstyle is seen as a sign of loyalty or rebellion. A different look may suggest someone is influenced by foreign ideas, and that's something the regime wants to stop immediately. This is part of the larger system of enforced conformity, where everyone is expected to act, dress, and think the same. Even something as small as a haircut becomes a tool for control. One North Korean defector said she was once warned by authorities for letting her hair grow too long. She was told it was not appropriate for a loyal citizen. In North Korea, your hairstyle isn't just about fashion. It's about obedience. Secret 8. Public executions still happen. In most countries, public executions are a thing of the past, something seen in history books. But in North Korea, they still happen today and are used as a method of control and fear. Public executions are often held in front of large groups of people, including children. According to Amnesty International and reports from North Korean defectors, schools have been required to send students to witness them. The crimes? They can be shockingly minor. People have been executed for things like watching South Korean movies, making international phone calls, stealing food, or practicing religion. For example, in 2013, North Korean authorities executed about 80 people in 7 cities. Some of them were reportedly killed for possessing banned foreign media such as South Korean dramas or DVDs. In another shocking case, Jang Song-taek, Kim Jong-un's uncle, was executed in 2013 after being accused of betrayal. His execution was announced publicly, sending a message that no one, not even close family, was safe. According to the NGO Transitional Justice Working Group, which maps executions in North Korea based on defector interviews, many of the execution sites are located in open spaces like schoolyards, riverbanks, or marketplaces. The purpose is clear: to scare the public and prevent any resistance. These brutal acts are not just punishments. They are performances of power. They are warnings to the people: do not break the rules, or you will suffer the same fate. Even today, the fear of public execution keeps millions of people silent. Secret 9. No religion allowed. In North Korea, religion is banned. While the country claims to have freedom of belief in its constitution, in reality, the government sees religion, especially Christianity, as a threat to its power. The Kim family is treated like gods. People are expected to show absolute loyalty to Kim Il-sung, Kim Jong-il, and Kim Jong-un. Worshipping any higher power is seen as a challenge to that loyalty. Possessing a Bible, attending a secret church, or even praying quietly can lead to imprisonment, torture, or execution. A well-documented example is the case of Pastor Han Chung-reol, a Chinese-Korean pastor who helped North Korean defectors and reportedly gave them Christian materials. He was found murdered near the North Korean border in 2016. Many believe North Korean agents were responsible. North Korean defectors have shared that entire families have been sent to prison camps simply because one member was caught with a Bible. The U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom has ranked North Korea as one of the worst violators of religious freedom for many years. There are some official churches in the capital, Pyongyang, but experts believe these are staged for foreign visitors and not real places of worship. The reality is harsh. Any worship outside of the Kim family is considered treason. In a land where even silent faith is seen as rebellion, true religious freedom does not exist. Secret 10. Everything is for show. When foreign visitors or journalists go to North Korea, what they see is carefully planned. The streets are clean, the stores are full, and the people are smiling. But this image is not real. Everything is staged. Tourists are only allowed to visit specific parts of the capital city, Pyongyang. They are not allowed to walk around freely. 2 government guides always follow them. Photography is restricted, and locals are often instructed on how to act. Stores that appear full of goods may have plastic food displays or be quickly filled right before the visit and emptied afterward. One former diplomat who visited Pyongyang said he saw a supermarket with no customers, full shelves, and no real transactions, as if the store existed only for show. In contrast, defectors and satellite images reveal the true conditions elsewhere: towns without electricity, schools without basic supplies, and families struggling to survive. Many parts of the country suffer from food shortages. During the 1990s famine, known as the Arduous March, hundreds of thousands, possibly millions, of people died from starvation. Even today, hunger remains a problem in rural areas. The government hides these facts. Instead, it shows a fantasy version of life in North Korea, a world where everyone is happy and loyal, but the smiles are forced. The truth is hidden. And behind the perfect photos, millions live in silence and fear. Secret 11. Black market is everywhere, but illegal. In North Korea, the government tries to control everything: jobs, information, food, and even money. But over the years, a black market has quietly grown inside the country, despite harsh laws and serious risks. These secret markets are called jangmadang in Korean. They began during the terrible famine of the 1990s, when government food supplies collapsed and people had to find other ways to survive. Many North Koreans turned to buying and selling goods in secret. Today, the jangmadang are everywhere, especially in cities. People sell rice, clothes, medicine, and even DVDs smuggled from China or South Korea. Foreign films, music, and news are still banned, but many people secretly watch them to learn about the outside world. According to defectors, these markets have become a lifeline for millions. Some families survive only because of what they earn in the black market. But participating is risky. If someone is caught trading banned goods, they could face fines, imprisonment, or worse. For example, DVDs of South Korean dramas are highly sought after, but if you're caught watching them, you could be publicly punished. There have been reports of people being sent to labor camps just for owning foreign movies. The government knows about these markets but struggles to stop them completely. Even some officials secretly buy from the Jiangmadong because they also need things the government cannot provide. In a country where the economy is broken and supplies are limited, the black market is not just a business. It's a form of silent resistance and survival. Secret 12. No freedom to choose jobs. In North Korea, your job is not your choice. After finishing school, the government assigns you a career, and you must follow that path whether you like it or not. This system is called job placement, and it starts early. Students are observed in school and assigned roles based on their family background, political loyalty, and government needs, not on personal talent or dreams. If your family is considered loyal to the regime, you might get a good job in the military, government, or education system. But if your family has a low status or a history of defection, you may be forced into hard labor, farming, or factory work in poor regions. One defector shared how she dreamed of becoming a doctor, but because her uncle had tried to escape the country, she was sent to work in a mine. Even more shocking, many jobs come without pay. In some industries, workers are expected to provide free labor as part of their patriotic duty. Those who complain or refuse may be punished or accused of disloyalty. Women are often assigned jobs in cleaning or service roles regardless of their education. And once you're placed, it's nearly impossible to change. This system limits personal ambition. It also keeps people in control. When you can't choose your own path, your future belongs to the state, not to you. In most countries, choosing your job is a basic freedom. In North Korea, even your dreams must follow the government's orders. Secret 13. The country runs on fear. One of the most powerful tools used by the North Korean government is fear. It controls people not just with laws, but by making them afraid of their neighbors, their friends, even their own families. North Korea has a strong system of secret police, known as the Ministry of State Security. Their job is to watch everyone, to listen for any signs of rebellion, criticism, or disloyalty to the leadership. Citizens are expected to spy on one another. In every neighborhood and workplace, there are people who report suspicious behavior. This creates an environment of deep distrust. You never know who might be listening. One defector shared how a friend of his was sent to prison for joking about Kim Jong-un. Another person was arrested because a neighbor heard them listening to foreign radio late at night. The fear is so strong that even children are taught to report their parents if they see or hear something wrong. Public meetings are often held where people are required to confess mistakes or criticize others. These are called self-criticism sessions, and they happen every week in schools, factories, and government offices. This system keeps people silent. Even if they are suffering or disagree with something, they are too afraid to speak up. Fear becomes the law. In most places, trust holds communities together. In North Korea, fear breaks them apart, and the government uses it to stay in control. Secret 14. Generations get punished together. One of the most cruel and shocking systems in North Korea is called the 3 generations of punishment rule. If one person is found guilty of a serious political crime, like trying to escape, criticizing the government, or practicing religion, the punishment doesn't stop with them. Their children, parents, and even grandparents may also be arrested and sent to prison camps. This rule is based on the idea of guilt by association. It teaches people that even a single mistake can destroy their whole family. According to reports by human rights organizations, there are entire prison camps in North Korea where people have lived their whole lives, not because of something they did, but because of what their relatives did years before. One defector, born inside a prison camp, shared how he didn't even know the outside world existed. His only crime was being born into the wrong family. This system creates fear that lasts for generations. People are terrified to speak, move, or question anything because their actions could hurt the people they love the most. It also breaks the will to resist. When you know your children or parents could suffer for your choices, you stop dreaming of escape. In most countries, justice is individual. In North Korea, it is collective and often permanent. This is not just a system of punishment, it's a tool of total control. Secret 15. Fake elections. North Korea holds national elections every 5 years. On paper, it may sound like democracy. Citizens go to voting stations, cast ballots, and choose their leaders. But in reality, these elections are completely fake. Each voting district has only one candidate, who has been pre-selected by the ruling Workers' Party of Korea. Voters are given a ballot with just one name. If they want to vote no, they must cross out the name in front of officials, something very few people dare to do out of fear. According to official records, voter turnout is always reported as 100%, and the winning candidate always receives 100% of the vote. These perfect numbers are meant to show complete support for the regime, but they are impossible in any real democracy. Elections in North Korea are not about choice. They are a performance, a political theater used to show loyalty to Kim Jong-un and the ruling party. People are required to participate. If someone does not vote, they are seen as suspicious. Security officials may investigate or punish them for showing disrespect. Even the smallest village has an election station, and authorities check that every citizen appears on the voting list. Those who are sick or elderly are carried to the polls by neighbors to prove their participation. One defector shared how her family was forced to vote under supervision, knowing full well that it meant nothing. In North Korea, elections are not a right. They are a ritual, a public act of obedience, not a voice for change. Secret 16. Foreign tourists are watched 24/7. Traveling to North Korea as a tourist is possible, but the experience is unlike visiting any other country in the world. From the moment you arrive, you are never left alone. Foreign visitors are assigned 2 government-approved minders, or guides who stay with them at all times. These guides control where you go, what you see, and even what questions you can ask. You are not allowed to explore the country freely. You cannot talk to local people unless the guides allow it. Most of your interactions are staged, often with people chosen by the government who have been trained on what to say. Photography is also tightly controlled. Tourists are only allowed to take pictures of approved locations. Photos of military sites, poor areas, construction zones, or sad-looking citizens are strictly forbidden. One tourist shared how a simple photo of a child walking barefoot was deleted by a guide who said, "This does not represent our country." Even hotel rooms are not private. While North Korea denies it, many defectors and analysts believe rooms for foreigners are bugged, meaning conversations might be recorded. There are only a few hotels where foreigners are allowed to stay, usually in Pyongyang. These hotels are isolated from regular citizens, and guests are not allowed to walk outside alone. Every step is planned. Every moment is observed. While some tourists report friendly guides and interesting experiences, they also admit that everything feels controlled, artificial, and distant from real life in North Korea. Tourism in North Korea is not a window into the country. It's a carefully painted picture. Secret 17. Time zone manipulation. In 2015, North Korea made an unusual and symbolic decision. It created its own time zone called Pyongyang time. By setting the clocks back 30 minutes from South Korea and Japan, the government said it was removing the legacy of Japanese imperialism. This move wasn't about practicality, it was political symbolism. North Korea had been using the same time zone as South Korea for decades. But the regime wanted to show its independence and separation from its neighbors, especially South Korea. It wanted to remind people that North Korea is different and proud of it. So, at midnight on August 15, 2015, the 70th anniversary of Korea's liberation from Japan, all clocks in North Korea were turned back by 30 minutes. The country now had its own official time zone. This change affected everything: transportation schedules, communication with foreign countries, and even broadcasts. It made daily life more complicated, but that didn't matter to the government. Then, in a surprise move in 2018, North Korea reversed the decision. Kim Jong-un ordered the country to return to the same time zone as South Korea. This was seen as a gesture of goodwill during peace talks with South Korean President Moon Jae-in. But the fact that time itself could be changed for political reasons shows how symbolic actions are used by the regime to shape national identity. Changing the clocks wasn't really about time. It was about control, pride, and power. In most places, time is just a number. In North Korea, even the clock is a tool for propaganda. Secret 18. Foreigners cannot use local currency. When you visit a country, you usually exchange your money for the local currency. But in North Korea, things work differently, especially for foreign tourists. Tourists are not allowed to use the local North Korean won, KPW. Instead, they must use foreign currencies like Chinese yuan, US dollars, or euros, depending on the tour. This rule is not just for convenience. It's part of a larger system designed to isolate foreigners from locals and control the economy. There are special shops and restaurants for tourists where prices are displayed in foreign currency. These places are often well-stocked and clean, unlike the shops available to ordinary North Koreans, which frequently lack basic goods. Tourists might visit a gift shop with foreign chocolate, alcohol, and souvenirs, but these items are completely out of reach for average citizens. By separating the currencies, the government ensures that local people and tourists don't interact economically. It also protects the black market value of foreign money, which is much more valuable than the official North Korean won. Some defectors have reported that even touching or possessing US dollars without permission could lead to investigation. This system reflects how the regime manages appearances. Foreigners see a curated, controlled version of the economy, one that hides the hardship and poverty most citizens face daily. You can spend money, but you can't see the real market. You can buy gifts, but not freedom. In North Korea, even money speaks two different languages, one for the world to hear and one for the people to obey. Secret 19. Schools teach worship, not just math. In most countries, schools teach children reading, math, science, and history. But in North Korea, education serves a different purpose. The main goal is not to develop independent thinkers. It's to create loyal followers of the Kim family. From kindergarten, children are taught to worship the country's leaders. They learn stories that praise Kim Il-sung, Kim Jong-il, and Kim Jong-un. These leaders are described as heroes, protectors, and even like gods. Textbooks are filled with poems, songs, and stories that celebrate the ruling family. Children are taught that the leaders are responsible for everything good in their lives. They are also told that the outside world is dangerous and that only North Korea is truly strong and pure. Scientific and historical education is limited. For example, history classes often ignore world events or rewrite them to support the government's version of truth. Some defectors have said they believed South Koreans were poor and suffering until they escaped and saw the truth. Children also learn military training in school. By middle school, students practice marching, shooting, and survival tactics, preparing for a possible war. One defector shared that she had to memorize dozens of quotes from Kim Jong-il and recite them daily. Mistakes in recitation could lead to punishment. In short, the classroom becomes a place of control, not curiosity. Instead of asking questions, students are taught to follow orders. Instead of exploring the world, they are taught to fear it. In North Korea, schools do not build dreams. They build obedience. Secret 20. Fake happiness for the cameras. North Korea wants the world to see it as a happy, strong, and successful country. That's why it carefully controls what visitors see. The result? A fake world built for the camera. When foreign journalists or tourists visit, they are taken to specific parts of Pyongyang. These areas are clean, colorful, and full of smiling citizens. The streets are swept. Children are singing. Stores are full. Everyone seems happy and proud. But behind this picture is a very different reality. Many of these areas are staged. The stores may look busy, but some are filled with fake products or temporary goods brought in just for the visit. Locals are sometimes instructed to dress nicely and appear cheerful. In some cases, they are told what to say to tourists and reporters. One Swedish journalist who visited North Korea in 2017 noted how his guide directed him to take photos only in certain directions. He later discovered that the buildings behind him were actually empty or under construction. Ordinary North Koreans, especially those outside Pyongyang, live with power cuts, food shortages, and crumbling homes. But this reality is hidden from outsiders. Even defectors have said that when they lived in the country, they knew how to act happy when tourists or officials were nearby. This false image helps the government maintain control and protect its reputation. It also keeps citizens in the dark. If they see only staged happiness, they might believe it's real. But fake smiles cannot hide hunger. Clean streets cannot erase fear. The truth is not in the pictures, it's in the silence behind them. Conclusion: freedom is precious. We have now seen 20 secrets of North Korea, a country where control is stronger than choice, and fear is more powerful than freedom. We learned how people live without access to the internet, without free speech, without the right to travel, vote, or even dream freely. We saw how even haircuts, jobs, and religion are controlled, and how generations can suffer for one person's mistake. We saw children taught to worship, tourists shown lies, and smiles forced for the cameras. All of this reminds us of one truth: freedom is precious. In countries where we can speak our minds, choose our paths, or ask questions, we are lucky. But sometimes, we forget how lucky we are. Imagine not being allowed to say what you feel. Imagine fearing your own friends or family. Imagine living a life where your future is written not by your own hand, but by someone else's rules. Millions of North Koreans live this way every day, not because they want to, but because they must. Many of them do not even know that life could be different. Their world has been shaped by silence, censorship, and fear. That's why stories like these matter. When we learn about people who live without freedom, we become more grateful for our own. We become more aware. And we begin to see that our voices and our choices truly matter. So, if you are free to speak, to study, to share, use that freedom. Don't waste it. And if this story moved you, share it with others. Let more people understand the value of freedom. Let more people hear the silent voices of those who cannot speak. Because freedom is not just a gift, it is a responsibility. And the more we value it, the more we protect it. That's all for today. See you in the next story.